1. How powerful was Evil Boo and what would have happened if the Z fighters had faced him directly? During the events of the Majin Buu saga, we got to know a series of interesting characters, such as Dabura and the terrible wizard Babidi. However, the main character of this story was the magical demon Majin Buu, an ancient creature that took on multiple forms, changing its appearance directly based on its mood or how it perceived itself. Among all the forms Majin Buu adopted throughout this story, without a doubt, the most terrifying, dreadful, and threatening was the form of Evil Boo, a thin, sinister-looking creature that seemingly only thought about destruction. We never truly discovered the full power of this creature. How strong was he really? And what would have happened if, for some reason, he decided to attack the Z fighters directly? In this video, we will try to answer this intriguing question. Warning: the answers provided in this video are based on official sources and canonical data. However, the theories and deductions are personal and should be taken with discretion. The magical demon Majin Buu is also considered a primordial force of nature, a kind of entity or energy that has existed since the very beginning of the universe, and was transformed into this creature by the terrible wizard Babidi. The nature of Majin Buu is truly fascinating, being one of the most complex creatures in the entire anime world. He had a rather strange nature, being capable of harboring multiple souls within a single body. We have a dedicated video explaining the incredible nature of Majin Buu, which you can find on the main channel. However, for now, let me tell you one thing. Within Majin Buu, there were two different souls, which also manifested in two distinct personalities. The first was the benevolent soul of the Kaioshin, while the second was an evil and sinister soul given to him by the terrible wizard Babidi. At the moment Majin Buu entered a state of rage, somehow both souls or personalities ended up separating into two different bodies. The personality or soul of the Supreme Kaioshin remained in the fat Majin Buu, while the soul of the evil or malevolent Majin Buu transformed into the fearsome Evil Buu. But what exactly was Evil Buu? To understand this, we have a special video on this channel, which I recommend watching if you haven't already. In simple terms, Evil Buu was nothing more than the latent evil within Majin Buu from the beginning, and thus was a being of complete chaos and destruction. An evil entity that only desired to harm every creature in existence. But what can we say about the power of this terrible demon? We can certainly say that Evil Buu had a base power much greater than Mr. Buu's, as somehow, upon separation, he had taken with him the majority of his powers. This could also include the divine energy belonging to the Supreme Kaioshin. However, when I say he was more powerful, I am strictly referring to the Mr. Buu who remained after the separation, as he was quite weakened, not the complete Mr. Buu who appeared at the beginning of the Majin saga. To make matters worse, Evil Buu was pure evil, so he certainly had an extra boost of power as he had no behavioral limits or psychological restrictions, meaning he had unleashed all his potential. Thus, we can say that Evil Buu was not only a wicked creature but also extremely powerful. If we had to compare him to other beings, we could compare him to Kid Buu, although the latter might be slightly more powerful. However, that doesn't mean it would have been easier to defeat him, as he would also be a much more unpredictable and malevolent being. So, what would have happened if Evil Buu, for some reason, faced the Z fighters directly without fusing again? To make this happen, we could consider several possibilities, such as after escaping, he might have chosen to destroy the fat Majin Buu directly instead of consuming him, which was quite probable since we are talking about a completely aggressive. If this were the case, Mr. Buu would have simply died, and the soul of the Supreme Kaioshin would have gone straight to the other world, completely freeing the evil part of this demon, which, I can assure you, would have caused a lot of trouble. To start with, this creature would have begun traveling across the earth, ruthlessly and cruelly ending all human lives, crushing them or blowing them into pieces. These scenes would undoubtedly have been among the most violent seen in Dragon Ball Z. However, it is likely that Evil Buu wouldn't have had the ability to sense his opponent's ki, as in the actual story. When Evil Buu absorbs fat Majin Buu, he transforms into Super Buu, gaining much more potent abilities and greater intelligence and cunning, which allowed him to sense his opponent's ki and traveled directly to the sacred world of the Kais. However, if Evil Boo had destroyed Fat Majin Buu and started attacking the Earth directly, he would not have had the ability to sense his opponent's ki, so he wouldn't have been able to detect the sacred world or confront Piccolo and the others. But wasn't that a good thing? It certainly wasn't, as after roaming around the Earth for a while, he would most likely get bored and destroy the planet directly. Remember, a warrior like Frieza already has the capability to easily destroy Earth, so Evil Boo would have also had the capability to do so, blowing the planet to pieces. Remember that Super Boo didn't destroy Earth for one reason, and that was because he was looking for Goku and the two kids who had faced him before. That's why Super Boo, after detecting Piccolo and the others on the Sacred World, traveled directly there to challenge them to a new fight, where he would have had a lot of fun. However, we're not talking about a warrior like Super Boo, who, although evil, also sought enjoyment and liked battles. In this case, we are talking about Evil Boo, a completely malevolent being who would never think of having fun, only of destruction. Therefore, the moment Evil Boo was unleashed, he would have started massacring the humans on this planet and soon after, would have completely destroyed it, including the Sacred World, Piccolo, Gotenks, and all the Earthlings. After utterly demolishing Earth, Evil Boo would have begun traveling to other planets, starting to massacre various races or destroying them directly, much like a force of evil unleashed in Universe 7. Fortunately, there were still two warriors who could stand against him. The first was Goku, who was on Supreme Kai's planet, and also Gohan, who at that exact moment was receiving the powers of the Ultimate State. In the end, I believe they could have stopped him, and even more easily, as the Supreme Kaioshin would have ambushed him somehow, using Gohan to attack this sinister demon. In this battle, Gohan would have had the advantage and would have ultimately destroyed him without any problem. Personally, Evil Boo is one of my favorite characters from the Majin Buu saga, as he is an extremely violent and aggressive being, and I think that if he had unleashed his true powers against the Z Fighters, he would have become one of the most terrible and challenging enemies the Z Fighters had ever faced. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to visit my channel, where you will surely find something of interest. I'm Kennel, and this is Kennel Play.